If you want a life that feels stronger, clearer, and genuinely happier, you don't need hundreds of rules or a complicated philosophy. The ancient Stoics believed that a few core principles, lived consistently, not just understood, could reshape someone's entire existence. These laws weren't meant to sit on a shelf or be quoted for aesthetic purposes. They were meant to be practiced daily, woven into your decisions, your habits, your reactions, and the way you interpret the world. Today, we're going to walk through 10 of these timeless Stoic laws that can guide you toward a stronger and happier life, especially in a world as chaotic and distracting as ours. The first Stoic law is to focus only on what you can control. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this endlessly because he understood that most of our emotional suffering comes from trying to influence things that aren't ours to command. You can't control what people think of you. You can't control external outcomes, and you can't control unexpected setbacks. You can only control what you choose, what you attempt, and how you respond. When you stop giving energy to everything outside your influence, your mind stops feeling stretched, anxious, and overwhelmed. This is the foundation of Stoic happiness, a clear boundary between what is yours and what isn't. The second law is to take full responsibility for your inner world. The Stoics believed that while you cannot control what happens to you, you can always control how you interpret it. This isn't about blame, it's about ownership. When you take responsibility for your mindset, your habits, and the decisions that shape your life, you reclaim your power. You stop waiting for the world to improve your life and instead begin improving it through your actions. Responsibility is a form of freedom because it puts the steering wheel back in your hands. The third Stoic law is to discipline your mind like a muscle. The Stoics practiced mental training every day through journaling, reflection, reading, and deliberate stillness. They knew that an undisciplined mind drifts toward fear, distraction, and confusion. But a trained mind becomes steady and resilient. Today, that training might look like morning journaling, time away from your phone, meditation, or even conscious self-talk. The point is never to let your mind run your life on autopilot. Strength doesn't come from reacting to everything you feel. It comes from shaping the way you think. The fourth law is to embrace discomfort instead of avoiding it. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship to remind themselves that they could endure far more than they believed, not to suffer unnecessarily, but to strengthen their character. In the modern world, discomfort shows up as difficult conversations, delayed gratification, disciplined routines, or doing the task you've been avoiding. Every time you step into discomfort rather than running from it, you build a stronger identity. Discomfort is the doorway to growth, clarity, and confidence. The fifth law is to live by your values, not your impulses. The Stoics believed that a peaceful mind comes from alignment, when your actions match who you want to be. Impulses come from emotion, fatigue, cravings, and momentary frustration. Values come from intention. When you choose based on values like patience, honesty, discipline, and courage, life becomes more consistent and less chaotic. Happiness grows when you can look at your choices and genuinely respect the person you're becoming. The sixth Stoic law is to protect your attention. In the ancient world, attention was precious. Today, it's under constant attack. Notifications, scrolling, comparison, drama, and overstimulation steal clarity, peace, and purpose. The Stoics believed that the mind becomes what it consistently consumes. If you want a strong, happy life, you have to guard what enters your mind. That might mean limiting distractions, choosing who you spend time with, reducing online noise, or being selective about what you give your mental energy to. A peaceful mind isn't an accident, it's the result of intentional consumption. The seventh law is to practice acceptance, not resistance. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means seeing reality clearly instead of fighting what already exists. When something goes wrong, most people immediately resist it. This shouldn't be happening. The Stoics believed that this resistance creates unnecessary suffering. When you say, "This is the situation, now what can I do?" you shift into clarity and power. Acceptance opens the door to effective action. It gives you the emotional stability to respond wisely instead of reacting emotionally. This is one of the deepest sources of long-term happiness, making peace with reality instead of constantly arguing with it. The eighth Stoic law is to find gratitude in the present moment. The Stoics understood how fragile life was, which made them deeply appreciative. They didn't wait for perfect moments to feel grateful. They found gratitude in ordinary things: health, breath, relationships, small joys, simple meals. Gratitude grounds you. It reconnects you to what actually matters. When you deliberately practice gratitude, you shift your focus away from what's missing and toward what's already meaningful. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is okay. It's about choosing where to direct your attention. The ninth law is to simplify. Complexity is one of the greatest modern stressors. Too many goals, too many possessions, too many notifications, too many obligations. The Stoics intentionally simplified their lives so they could think clearly and live deliberately. Simplicity can look like cleaning your environment, cutting unhealthy relationships, reducing digital clutter, or choosing fewer priorities. Simplicity restores mental order. It creates space for reflection, growth, and peace. When life is simpler, happiness has room to breathe. And the 10th Stoic law is to remember your mortality, not to be afraid, but to be awake. The Stoics practiced memento mori because they knew that awareness of death makes you more focused, more grateful, and more alive. When you remember that time is limited, you complain less, procrastinate less, and appreciate more. You take relationships seriously. You stop wasting days. You make decisions that reflect your deeper values. Memento mori is a reminder to live, not later, but now. When you weave these 10 Stoic laws into your life, something powerful begins to shift. You stop giving your energy to things that drain you. You stop being controlled by impulses and emotions. You start responding instead of reacting. You gain clarity about what matters and what doesn't. You begin to feel grounded, steady, and capable of handling whatever life brings. The Stoics never promised a life without difficulty, but they offered something even better: a mind strong enough to remain stable in chaos, wise enough to choose the right path, and grateful enough to find joy in the present. That is the foundation of a stronger, happier life. Not perfection, but mastery of your inner world. And when you live according to these laws, the world doesn't suddenly become easier, but you become unshakable. You become someone who can handle life with calm strength, someone who chooses their direction instead of being pushed by circumstance, someone who finds peace not by escaping life, but by engaging it wisely, fully, and fearlessly.